Hey guys, welcome back on the channel. Today we're going to take another look at Extra Finance. We will focus on the leverage aspect of the game. It's one of the three different ways that you can earn with Extra Finance by leveraging your yield farming position. This is actually a request from a viewer in one of my most recent videos. So shout out to $10 million for suggesting me to make this video. Hopefully I get your doubts cleared out, but if not, you'll always free to drop a comment down below or even shoot me an email and I can get back to you as soon as I can, right? Now, if you never heard about Extra Finance, I already covered it a few months ago, so if you want to check that out, if you want to get acquainted with the protocol, check the description or the pinned comments. I will leave a link for the full breakdown of the protocol where I go step by step showing you all the features that it offers and how you can benefit from those. All right, so Extra Finance is a leverage yield farming platform. In order for you to leverage yield farm, you are necessarily going to have to borrow assets, because that's the beauty about leveraging yield farming, is that you deposit, let's say, 1,000 USDC, and that becomes your collateral when you borrow. And where are you borrowing that from? You're borrowing from the lending pools that they have. So that's the second aspect that you can earn from on Extra Finance. The third is staking. And for staking, you have to own the native token, which is the Extra token, the native token of Extra Finance. But actually what you can do with farming and lending is that you can, for example, in this case, we're going to take the pair Ethereum paired with USDC as a pool example, and you can go on to the lending side. If you have a big amount of funds, you can drop some Ethereum on the Ethereum pools there, and you can come back here on the farm side. And when you do that with the Ethereum USDC pool, if you borrow more Ethereum, you're sort of closing the loop and you're earning from both sides, if that makes sense, right? Also, always take attention here to the summary on the right side, because right now it's green. Sometimes it might be red, and that will be due to the usage of a specific pool. So for example, let's say we are borrowing some Ethereum. If there's not enough of Ethereum to be used on the pool, you are going to pay a lot in interest for borrowing Ethereum itself. And that's something we can touch on later on in the video when it comes to the lending side, but it won't be profitable. Basically, you will be losing money, and it's not a good idea to open a position like that. So always keep that in mind, all right? If that is the case, of course, it will show up here instead of green in red, and you'll see that maybe the option would be go into the Ethereum pools and lending instead of opening a farming position that will lose you money. You go on the pools, you lend Ethereum, and you'll take advantage of how hot Ethereum is right now, because the higher the usage in the pool, the higher the APY will be for users who are lending Ethereum. And this goes for every other pool on Extra Finance, okay? So let's get to the leverage setup strategies. Now there's going to be three of them, right? You see here the leverage is up to 4x, but actually 4x is only available for people who are staking the native token Extra on their platform. So if you're a regular user and you are not staking your Extra tokens here, you can only leverage up to 3x, which in my perspective is a very responsible number to leverage, since there's always going to be risk in DeFi, but when you leverage and when you're borrowing, you can get wrecked as simply and as fast as you can make a profit. It's a double-edged sword. You're gonna get exposed to a lot of risk, but also at the same time, you are going to potentially earn a lot of rewards. So know what you're doing when you're getting started with this. If not, just start small. Don't go in with $10,000 or $1,000. Go in with 100, couple hundred, depending on how much your risk tolerance is. But I don't advise anyone to go into leveraging plays that they do not fully understand. All right. Now let's get to it. There's three types of leverage setup strategies. The first is the neutral. And by the way, you can go on their docs and they have a ton of information on these topics. That might also help you to understand if this video doesn't do the trick. But there's the neutral pseudo, there's the long, and there's the short. The neutral pseudo, basically what it does is that there's going to be two positions opened, one long and another short. They will cancel each other out, and although you will not have your position exposed to market volatility, you will still be having to face the risk of liquidation. So it's not that safe haven that will guarantee that you are going to take a profit. You are hedging your position against one another. It's going to cancel some risks. The risk of liquidation, though, is still there. So the upside of this neutral strategy is just that you are focusing more on your leverage yield results. You don't have to worry about what happens in the background. You choose a neutral pseudo, and then Extra Finance does all the math for you in the background. You just choose the amount of leverage you want to go in, what assets you want to borrow. If you want to borrow some assets, of course, you always have the option to go with the minimum amount of leverage. But the focus of this position is on the high APY that it can generate, while at the same time protecting you from market exposure. All right. Now there's going to be also a long strategy for leveraging your deposit. This is something that you can apply if you want to read the markets or make a bet, basically. If you believe the price of Ethereum for this specific pair, right? Because it's the only non-stable asset. USDC is a pegged token. So if you believe the price of Ethereum will go up, you want to hold to Ethereum, that's what you're going to choose. You will long your position. And if you want to long Ethereum, your assets to borrow, it's going to be the opposite, that the one that you want to hold. You want to borrow USDC in this case. And of course, the opposite is also true. If you want to short an asset on your liquidity pool, it's going to be the one that you are borrowing when you choose the short strategy. So if you choose your short strategy and you borrow Ethereum, basically what you're saying is that you are shorting Ethereum. It might not make sense at first because you think, okay, I'm borrowing something, how come am I shorting this position? That's because of the whole math behind it. Because let's say if you want to go in with 1,000 USDC and then you want to borrow 3x that with Ethereum. Now let's go up here on the summary. It will show you everything. So in that scenario, you would be supplying 1,000 USDC, that's your collateral. You would be borrowing $2,000 worth of Ethereum and your total position would be 3,000, hence why you are 3x leveraging. So in that case, you are shorting Ethereum because the LP position that you are going to open, it needs to be 50-50. So 50% of this 3,000 it's going to be USDC and 50% it's going to be Ethereum. But you need to remember that since you are borrowing Ethereum, you're going to pay it back in the future. And that's why you are shorting it. Notice that you borrowed 0.66 Ethereum and your total position is opened with 0.49 Ethereum. So the difference between 66 and 49, that's going to be the amount of Ethereum that you will have to pay back, because in order to open your position, you had to sell a little bit of that Ethereum, that same difference, to buy more USDC in order to make the position to be worth 50-50 from both assets, right? And that's why you are borrowing Ethereum, because if you predict the price to be dropping in the future, in the moment that you will be going to close your position and pay back your Ethereum, remember this difference between 66 and 49, you will use USDC to buy that difference back again. And now you're buying something that you sold before at a higher price, right? Because since then the price dropped. Now this difference that you are buying is worth less and you get to keep the difference in USDC in your pocket. That's why you are shorting Ethereum, okay? I hope that makes sense. Now also bear in mind that shorting the market, this is something which is time sensitive. So let's use the P&L simulation here to grasp that idea. So you can play around here with how long you want to invest it, because what this chart here shows you is how long for these 30 days you can hold your position until you have the most amount of profit. If you go here on the upper side of the blue leverage farming line, you will see that when it starts to go downwards, your profit starts to diminish. So when the price of wrapped Ethereum is at $1,682, meaning that Ethereum dropped 44% in price, this is the optimal point in time where you should exit your position. As you can see by the chart, you will start to go down in PNL. So your profits can potentially start to diminish, and you can even see that your position here from yield farming starts to go on the red, so you're incurring in a loss at that point. Of course, you can sell before. You don't need necessarily to wait until you have the most amount of profit. Sometimes the market might not even meet that condition, and that's something you have to decide for yourself. But you will see that your leverage farming position optimally can earn up to almost 14% in profits while the price of Ethereum has gone down. And this is through across the board. You can short whatever token you want. If you come here with the leverage setup, you select short, and then you will borrow the token that you want to short. And the opposite is also true. So when you're shorting Ethereum, you're longing the other token in the pair, in the case USDC. And if you want to long Ethereum, in this case, you would have to go and borrow USDC. And if you are longing Ethereum, let's refer here again to the summary side, and you will see that we started with the same $1,000. We borrowed through 2,000 because we 3x leveraged. We have $3,000 now, but since the position has to be 50-50 worth, half of those $1,500 are now deposited with ETH. And again, Extra Finance does all of this in the background. You only need to go and select the token you want to borrow. And from your overall $3,000 position, now half of that is available in Ethereum. So if Ethereum price goes up in the future, that's what you expect since you are longing it, right? You can always refer here to the PNL simulation chart. But now since Ethereum is worth more, you don't have to sell the whole amount of the Ethereum that you open your position with in order to pay back your USDC loan. So you get to keep the difference, and you're gonna take profit by longing Ethereum. Of course, this is an hypothetical scenario where everything goes well. At the same way that you can earn money, you can also lose money. That's why there is the neutral position. That is for people who are focusing on solely earning with the yield of the liquidity pool position and not betting in price appreciation or depreciation of a certain token. But again, keep an eye out for liquidation because that can still hurt you. Now let's go here on the lending side. So this is the side where you will face the least amount of risk when it comes to Extra Finance. But still, it's very interesting that depending on the demand of a specific token that people are using when they're leveraging their positions, you can see triple digits APY here on even Ethereum, a blue chip. So that's huge, right? Of course, it's not going to be a long-term type of thing. It's going to last a couple of days. But you can see, for example, here, just lending and stablecoin USD Plus, the APY right now is 50%. So there's a lot of demand. And that's because the total supply is being heavily used. You see, 5 million in supply, 4.6 million in borrowed. The higher the use rate of a specific pool, the higher the APY will be. And right now, even OVN is paying huge APYs, triple digits on this asset. And this is just on the base side of the pools. Again, there's going to be the optimism. So plenty of options overall. Just a quick mention here to their docs, since the interest rate of the pools for lending is going to be different for three types of models. So there's two types of assets that have one interest rate, which is Ethereum USDC. This is going to be the most often used assets when it comes to borrow, the most popular ones by users, and that's why they have their own specific rate Model 1. Then there's the Model 2 for others, and then the Model 3 for the majority of the assets for the pools. And you can see here how the usage of a pool affects the interest that people are earning. You can see it, regardless of what model we're looking at, until it reaches to 80% of the usage of the pool, it's very much stable. The APY is very much stable. Only after 80% of the pool being used, that's when it just goes up, and that's where you can see triple digits APR even for Ethereum itself. But like I said, usually that won't last for long, but still you can use it, and whenever you go on to the pools and lend your tokens, you will get paid in the same token that you are providing for others to borrow. So if you're lending Ethereum, you're getting to see your Ethereum bag grow. This type of APY is much higher than, for example, staking Ethereum. I wouldn't even be surprised if averaging out by the end of the year you get a higher APR than 6% because of how sought out the Ethereum token is. You can see they even have 3 pools for Ethereum, 2 for USDC, and that's just because of that. They're heavily used tokens when it comes to users borrowing them. Alright guys, if there's any questions you might have still, drop them down in the comments down below, or if you have some suggestions for future videos, feel free to let me know. I'm going to wrap this one up. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.